Toledo Organic Tequila is so crisp, so incredibly smooth, it's simply in a category by itself. This is luxury. Life tastes better naturally, so should your tequila. This is Toledo. Enjoy responsibly. Welcome to another episode of the DJ, the Money Coach Financial Expert Series, brought to you by the 7 Spheres of Money. Thank you for joining us for another powerful interview. And we're in the last week of Women's History Month, so we're going to round it off with another powerful woman. So DJ, go ahead and take it over and introduce the audience to who we're talking to today.
Oh yeah, man. We're fired up, man. I mean, this is an amazing month. Couldn't be a better day. It's sunny outside. It's about 85 degrees where I am outside. And I can't wait to get back outside with my children and do my real full-time job, which is dad. But in the meantime, we want to introduce you guys to another phenomenal expert on the Financial Expert Series with DJ the Money Coach, because we want to bring you excellence in our community and let you know that this is not the exception to the rule. This is the rule. Okay? So you young guys, young gals out there, moms and dads, guys and gals, we want to bring these platforms to you all the time, and let us know if you like this information. Put a like, subscribe, and also let us know what other topics you would like to talk about in the Financial Expert Series with DJ the Money Coach. So, my story. It's real quick. I'm like you, like most people, went to school, came out with a bunch of debt, $60,000 worth of debt, $40,000 was consumable debt, $20,000 was student loans, and I had this awesome credit score, 525. Yep, 525, baby. And yep, like you, I got turned down for a mortgage, even though I was making professional income. And my definition of professional income as a single person is like 45,000 and up. Okay. So with that said, I also got turned down for a small business loan as well, a couple of years later by the same bank. So you know what? I didn't play victim. I played victor, because I put myself in that debt. I knew what I was getting into, but I didn't understand personal finances, even though I had a background in college in accounting. So I read one book. It was called The Road to Wealth. And I actually only read one chapter about credit. And I understood how credit actually worked. And I never took a personal finance class, nor was offered one in school. And within 12 months of doing that, my credit score rose above 700. 24 months from doing that, my credit score rose above 800. And at that point, I realized I was in the top 1% of credit, people. And most importantly, within 6 years, I paid off all my consumable debt. I did not file bankruptcy. I didn't cry the blues, anything, but I paid off all my consumable debt. You think that was what I was excited about, but it wasn't, guys. What I was excited about is that from 2002, when I became consumer debt free, I put that anvil off my shoulder. I took a, deep exhale, and I felt like I can go out and take down the world. And then 6 years from there, in 2008, I became a free man totally in America. That means I had a $250,000 income. I had a 7-figure net worth, and I now was in the top 1% of anybody on the planet in terms of power and resources. And that's amazing, but that's not what I'm excited about. I'm excited that I actually took that information back to my community, and I started helping out in my church, and I started teaching financial education programs to my church. It started to pick up, momentum. Then I started teaching at the YMCA. Then I started teaching at the Attorney General's Young Attorney's Office in the state of Illinois. Then people heard about us, and then I started teaching in the state of Michigan at the Predatory Lending Department for the state senator's office. And then from there, things just got out of control in a good way, and we went across the country, and 20 years later, we've helped over 20,000 people get consumer debt free, and hundreds become financially independent. And now we're going to bring you one of those people that exemplifies that, and she's an expert in her class alone. So this young lady, she's a entrepreneur. She has a degree, an undergraduate was in entrepreneurship and things of that nature. But what she really mastered is she got her JD, that jurisprudence doctorate, of law, and she specialized in immigration law, and she specialized in estate planning and family practice, which is most important in our community. And not only has she done that at a high level, she also is a mother of 4 amazing children, and she's a mom to these great children, teaching them right now, the youngest one, teaching them homeschooling like I've been teaching my child and all my 4 children for the last 12 years. That's right. We're early adopters, and I'm excited about that. And on top of that, she's an amazing wife to this amazing guy in the transportation logistic business. And she's not one of these people that tries to compete with her husband, but she actually completes her husband, which makes us even more excited because they're equally yoked, which is amazing. So not only that, she also is a member of our program and have seen side by side what we actually do for people, because she's been involved in our program over a year, man. So it's exciting. So her testimony is amazing. But here's the great thing I like about this person, that when she first came in contact with me, she had a million questions for me. She was actually, you know, trying to put it to me. It's like, DJ, I don't think you're telling me the right stuff, but I'm gonna ask you this, this, and this. And I'm just like having a blast talking to her. And this is an elongated introduction, but the reality is you're gonna see how this all comes together, because if you really are the Mott's and you really the person that you claim to be, you embrace everybody's questions because you got nothing to hide, baby. Pure transparency. And what better way to come up against a very astute, well, you know, intentioned attorney that just wanted the truth and wanted to get to the next level. So we passed that test, plus. And we not only became friends, but now we become business partners. And without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to this amazing person named Mijrane Belizaire. How are you doing today, Miss Esquire?
I'm doing great. Very good, very well, very happy. And thank you so much for that introduction. That was a beautiful introduction. And I will agree with you. I gave you a hard time. Like I said before, my husband found out about your program through UrbanX. And then we did the workshop where you were kind of advertising to the UrbanX community what you were all about. And I really liked the information because it was about growing your personal finances, how to get out of debt, and how to not just get out of debt, but how to grow business wise. And that's what really got me into signing on to your program. And then once we met, yeah, and I'll be honest, like Dale would stay on the phone with me. He would say, okay, I have an hour. And I'm like, all right, let's go. And I just keep asking questions after questions, and he'd give me answers, and I'd have questions for that answer. And I think every time we met, it was more than an hour. I think we at least spent like 2 or 3 hours on the phone. Even when he would say, oh, I have a meeting after you, he'd be like, all right, I got 5 more minutes before I start that meeting. He would go to the limit of where he, until he had to go to the next meeting. And I can say, he never made me feel bad for asking questions. He never, felt like, okay, this is too much, I have to go. He answered every single question, even when we're like, we weren't sure if we wanted to continue. And he was like, well, what's your hesitation? And we were just talking about our finances. We were coming up with some issues budget-wise. He still worked with us and said, all right, don't worry about that. I want you guys to grow. And I respected him for that, because some people just say, well, you don't have the money, goodbye. And he never did that. He never turned us away. He always informed us. And because of that, it allowed us the opportunity to kind of later on kind of invest with you, where we're like, okay, now we're at a position where we can do more. What's going on? So every time you brought up a program, whether it was the program in Texas or the Forex fund, we're like, all right, Forex fund, let's go. Texas, let's go. What's happening? And then you always gave us details and information. And I think that's why I liked your program the most. I like you because you inform us. You're not hiding anything. You're not, oh, well, just give me the money and then we'll worry about this later. You're like, okay, well, this is what's going on. This is what it is. A, B, C, D, E, and you're clear. And that's how I am with my clients. I want to be clear, give them the pros and cons of every situation, not just shut them down because they're not doing what I want them to do. It's about their results and how they can grow and how they can solve their legal matter. So they give me, and if, like, for example, I had, some immigration cases where they want to see a certain result. So I say, okay, well, I had a client who was trying to get his green card. And every attorney he went to told him, no, it can't happen. And when I sat down with him, he was like, my father's an American citizen, my mother is not, but everybody is telling me no. So I sat down with him. I said, no, you're an American citizen. And I could relate because my father was American citizen, my mother was not. So I said,
Hmm.
I'm an American citizen, so are you. So let's figure this out. And all it was getting the documents, and nobody was willing to do the work because the documents were 20 years old. You had to get the information from a different island. And so, but I was able to work with the family, gather everything, and now he's a citizen. He graduated Delaware Community College. He's working at Comcast. He's looking to buy his first house. And as I could imagine, you know, when he didn't have his card, his green card, he was working under the table. He wasn't able to go to college, and he was being used because everybody would always, you know, every employer would threaten, oh, I'll call immigration on you. So once I was able to get him off of that, get him his green card, well, actually get him his citizenship. I'm sorry, because he was a citizen, so we didn't have to go through green card. We were able to get his citizenship, and now he's blossoming. So every time he tells you, oh, you got an immigration problem, call Mijrane. And I'll work with people's budgets, you know, because not everybody has, you know, $500 an hour to pay an attorney. So I like to focus on clients who are low to moderate income level, because I went to law school to help people. That was the reason I went. I always said, oh, I can make money other ways. I can make money in real estate. That's really my way of making money. But I really wanted to go and help people with law. So I try, you know, to do my best to take on clients who need the help and who, you know, maybe have been turned down by other attorneys. I had this one case, it was a disability case, and she was denied because she was under 50. And the attorney, even the Disability Law Center, said, there's no way we can help you. You're not going to get approved. And then I took on her case and we were able to win. She just got her back paid 2 weeks ago, $40,000. So she was just $42,000, excuse me. And she was elated because it was her
42
with
grand.
42 grand.
Man, that's more than the median income for single family households in the United States. That's amazing. Awesome job.
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to actually try to connect you two, because I want her to be able to do something with that and not just spend it on bills and back pays. So I said, don't do anything with the money. Let's talk. Let's meet, let's talk and see what you can do with it to help it grow for your children. Because she still has young children. I think her youngest is 17, and then she has a 19 and another one's 24. So she still has young children that she needs to think about and help them figure out their next steps. So, but yeah, I enjoy what I do. And then when I met you and the way you help people, I said, yeah, this could be a good connection.
Oh man, that's awesome. I mean, a couple of things that I want to uncork and unravel in what you said. Number one, Nick, we got our own black version of Aaron Brockovich. And if you guys don't know who that is, go look it up. She's a major, you know, hero for a lot of, you know, underserved people that she just does not quit. She's like a pit bull. I love that. Number two, for me personally, outside of my personal attorney, Lisa K. Shebar, I never had a positive experience with attorneys because they really were just, you know, pardon my French, they were like parasites. You know, they only cared about their retainer and that was it. But it's refreshing that you actually are embodying the law, what it was based upon initially, actually go out and serve the people. And most importantly, the people who are less fortunate, that don't have the advantages that people with money have, that, you know, puts them at a disadvantage for generations.
Right.
And that becomes their basic, you know, pipeline to poverty. And you're basically out there fighting for people in that regard. And to me, that's amazing. So I take my hat off to you in that regard, because that's a thankless job. Real talk. That's a thankless job. So that's in your heart. That's in a passion. That can't be taught. That can't be taught. That can't be taught at all. So the other thing is that the ability to have that commitment to finishing the task of what most people don't want to do. If it's not easy, we live in a world now that, you know, people want the reward, but they don't want to do the work.
Right.
They want the shine without the grind.
Right.
You can't have it sustainable without doing the grind first. So I commend you on that.
We'll be right back with the DJTMC Financial Expert Series after this message. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, this is DJ the Money Coach. It is a beautiful sunny day out today. It's got to be about 85 degrees in the sun. This is the Pom Pom lifestyle. Plenty of money, peace of mind. And like I said, don't have to be a beach, is wherever you find your freedom. and your peace of mind. So just follow me as I'm just walking through, my backyard, just enjoying myself. Got my daughters right there. And, I'm just gonna come here and just chill in the shade and sit down and play a little chess with my son on a bright sunny day. And this is any day of the week, 7 days a week. This is freedom. And you can have freedom too. All you have to do is be consumer debt free, increase your credit score by 30 points in 30 days or less, and have businesses, real estate, and dividend stocks that are double your recurring expenses, and you are free in America. So why don't you come join me and let's travel the world and get your freedom too. I'm DJ the Money Coach. See you in the next free webinar. Give us a quick backstory of who you are, where did you come from? Tell us about the 15, 16-year-old Mijrane and bring us up to forward 2021.
Well, I would say my parents are immigrants. Like I said, my mother is Haitian. My father is Haitian as well, but he became an American citizen by joining the Army. Both of them were very hard on us, far as don't bring home anything but A's and B's. My mom was like they got married young. They were 22 and 25. And then they had me. And then my mom had to go through, my mom and dad actually went to school while we were in elementary and high school. So it was always finish school first before you start your family.
So you were key latch kids.
It was.
You were key latch kids is what we call it, which I was. Your parents weren't at home while you were at school, and then you got there. Oh. They probably there for a quick minute or something. Well,
actually, the way they did it, my dad worked at night, and my mom worked during the day. So there was always somebody home. So
latchkey. Latchkey. Okay.
Right.
I'd have had that. I'd see my mom in the morning, and then we come home, my sister and I, and then 2 hours later, my mom come through tired. We get that meal and go right to bed.
Back to bed. Yeah. And so yeah, my dad, and I used to always get away with stuff with my dad. I'm like, oh, Dad, can I stay up a little bit later? Or if I wanted to stay in school a little bit later. And I was a good kid. We'd go to a Chinese restaurant and sit in a Chinese restaurant and talk. And with my mom was like, who you with? No, get on the train, get home. My dad was like, okay, all right, bye-bye. You be half asleep. So I knew who to call if I wanted to stay out a little bit. But either way, raised by them, just focused on college, end up going to school and kind of figuring out what I wanted to do.
What part of the country are you from? Where did this all happen at? I know you're on the East Coast, but our people don't.
Well, I'm in Philly right now, but we started off in Brooklyn.
That's what I thought. I thought you started out in Brooklyn.
Yeah, we're in Brooklyn, moved here when I was 12, and then didn't like Philly because Philly was too quiet and I missed my family. Like all my cousins, being Haitian, we have a big family. So I had my grandfather, my uncle, my cousins on my mom's side. When we came here, it was just us. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then went back home went back to New York at 18 for college. I went to Baruch College, CUNY, City University of New York, studied communications. And I created my own major because I wanted to do human resources and entrepreneurship. And I love graphics and I love writing. I was part of the newspaper. So I used to write in the business section and focus on just different things happening in our business. In the business, happening to business majors that were important for the business students, and love that. And then when I came out of college, I decided I wanted to move back home. I missed my family, and then I ended up falling in love with Philly. What I found out about Philly's with New York, everything is out there for you. You can see everything, go anywhere you want. With Philly, you find everything you want, but you have to look for it. You got to do a little harder work. But then I ended up falling in love with Philly, and I worked for 2 years. With AmeriCorps Vista. I was a volunteer for America. I did that for 2 years, and I ended up being placed with Habitat for Humanity. Habitat for Humanity Philadelphia. So the first year was with West Philly, and then during that year, they combined all the different areas. They had Habitat West Philly, Habitat South, Germantown, and North. And then combined and became Habitat for Humanity Philadelphia. My area was family services, and I loved it. As a family services coordinator, I always worked with the family with their credit credit and budget. That was always my biggest thing. They have to learn how to handle their affairs. They have to learn that you pay your mortgage first, everything lasts. And I enjoyed it. I would ask them about their credit. How do we get you on track? How do we get you out of credit debt, pretty much, get you out of debt, how to pay their bills quickly in order to set themselves up for success when they got into their home. So I enjoyed that. And working in that is what actually triggered me to go to law school.
Okay.
Because so what we would do in Habitat for Humanity, I don't know if people are familiar with the program, but what we do.
Build houses, right?
The build houses. Program? Right, exactly. So it's a sweat equity. The families have to help by working. They get a no interest loan. So pretty much it's built at cost, and you pay cost. And then as you pay, your money returns back into the program to help somebody else build a home for themselves. And so, excuse me, what we would see when we were interviewing the families for the program, we found a lot of tenants in substandard living. You found a lot of people, and they're still paying the landlords. There was one family that had water in their basement. The roof had caved in on their children's bedroom.
Oh, wow.
And they had 5 kids, so it was 7. They had their master bedroom.
This is not the house that y'all built for them?
No.
Oh, okay. This is what they were in prior to.
Right. This was a family we were interviewing to see if they would qualify for our program.
So these people pretty much got to be on the border of indigent then?
Yes.
Okay.
There are certain income levels that they have to have. So you can't be, it's that low to moderate income. So you can't be poor in the sense where you're not working, but it's that working families. So it was more for working families. So you had to have a certain level of income that you bring into to your home to qualify for the program. And,
so was that I didn't mean to interrupt, Ms. Ronnie, but was that incorporated with the Nehemiah financing program to actually put the loan for them? Or was it a totally different type of specialty loan? Because Nehemiah loan is for lower income. You got to work off, do community service, go to credit card, consumer services for a year. They give you like 5% down. It's not called the Nehemiah program anymore, but this was Nehemiah from the 80s up until like 2003.
For our program, I'm not familiar with Nehemiah, but for our program, there was absolutely no interest for the home. Okay. So there was no loan. You just had to qualify based on your income. That you'd be able to pay back the cost. And I know with Habitat, there was a lot of fundraising, a lot of grant to make the cost of the home as reasonable as possible and affordable so that on their income, they could afford it. So that's how our program worked. We never took any loans, any financing towards the families.
Wow, that's even more amazing than I thought, because that means once they move into the home, they own it outright.
Once they finish paying, once they finish paying the cost, they own it outright. Yes, correct. Man, that's amazing. And then they were also able to pass that to their family. And if they wanted to sell, they could sell, but the first option went to Habitat for possibly another Habitat.
I was wondering, it got to be some type of tether to there. I mean, because man, if you got into that program and just started doing it, I mean,
yeah, I mean, it was a great program, and we did it all over. With AmeriCorps, there are times we went into Dallas. We would do like all the AmeriCorps volunteers would come from all over the country, get with Habitat, and we would build. And one time in Dallas, I think the goal was to build 100 homes in a week. Wow. And it was great. It was great. So that's kind of what triggered me to go to law school.
Okay.
Just because we just saw the abuse of landlords, where, like I said, for that family, the landlord still wanted the rent and threatened to kick them out. And I'm like, but the house is substandard. And there were laws to protect tenants, but again, you have to be educated and knowledgeable that, hey, you don't have to pay if you have water in your basement, your roof caved in. You don't have to pay. They have the requirement to fix that before you owe them anything. So that family, were able to get them to a home, within, I think I want to say 3 to 5 months. I know before I left for law school, they were in their home. They were a great, great family. The mother worked in the church. The father did, I believe he was a contractor, but nice family, good kids. And they were great. They were great. So that kind of, that ability or that desire to want to know the law to protect people is kind of what triggered me to say, okay, I want to go to law school.
Okay, so now you go to law school, and you finished out, get your JD, and then you decided to start practicing. Which one was the most important? Was the immigration or the family practice portion first was the most important?
Well, prior to practicing for myself, I actually worked for a judge, Court of Common Pleas. So I did clerking first because I wanted to kind of understand how the court worked.
Okay.
And then from there, after I left, I was with her for about 3 years.
Which branch did you work in? Appellate?
I did both. I did trial level, criminal trial level and civil trial. So I got a taste of both. And while I was doing that, I was able to, and then when I finished, then I went into private practice and I went into immigration. Like I said, that young man was kind of like my first taste of immigration. And I kind of always knew I wanted to do a little bit of immigration just because of my family's background. And then when I had his case, I was like, oh, okay, I want to do this. Because people take advantage of immigrants all the time. They take advantage, if you're low income, immigrants, certain races, they're just a group of people that always get taken advantage of, that I always think you need to have somebody who cares enough to represent, or, the best to represent you. So
who was your anchor at the time? Were you married at the time, or you still single doing this?
I was still single doing this.
Because I mean, that's a lot of costs and expenses that you're taking on, going to law school, starting to practice.
I was able to save a lot of money, and my parents were my anchor at that time. They were able to help, and I did a lot of, so for my practice, I worked from a virtual office, and I had a lot of good people around me. There was a gentleman, a financial consultant, who let me share his office as I was starting out. I also joined Jenkins Law Library. Mm-hmm. It's a library for a lot of solo practitioners and small firms. Join it. You get all this legal information from there, and you become a member. And then they have private offices where you can meet with your clients. So I branched off that way and kind of met my clients and grew that way. And then about, I would say, a year in is when I met my husband. And then we kind of reconnected. I knew him since I was 21. And then we reconnected like 16 years later, and was like, we never left each other.
Oh, wow.
And then I had my two little boys. We each had our daughters from a separate relationship.
Family, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Blended family. And then we have our two sons. So I had to take a break for a little bit, just to focus on them and what they needed. And then last year I restarted my practice again. And, of course, COVID hit. So with the clients that I service, it was a little hard. But this year, things are kind of picking up again. So I'm hopeful that things will continue to grow. And especially for immigration, we're going to see what this president does as far as the Citizenship Act. We're hoping that, because that can help a lot of people on TPS. It can help a lot of, good people. But there needs to be a little bit of work in that area as far as the immigration.
Oh man, that's an understatement. You know what? 3 things stand out here is that, number one, I think, I don't think I know. It seems that they are pivoting more towards the Latino community to get their immigration stuff lined up. But as far as your community, especially from a Haitian standpoint, where do you stand there? Because I mean, there's a lot of discrimination, a lot of prejudice that, even though these laws and this new legislation, executive orders that 46 or whatever his name is signed in, I don't see it benefiting people that look like you, and definitely not your ethnicity, heritage, background. Talk to me a little bit about that for a quick, because I know that's got to be close to your heart.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fight that is going to be a continuous fight. It's just like in the 80s when they allowed the Cubans to come here, but the Haitians, it was a problem for the Haitians. So it's a constant fight, and we have to open up our eyes. We have to fight. Like a couple of my Haitian clients, I already told them, you need to contact your Congress people. You need to fight. You need to let them know, hey, we are here. A few of them are citizens. You need to talk. You have family who need you. And I think part of it is understanding the political, because everybody thinks, oh, the president. Mm-hmm. You have your Congress, men and women who are there to fight for you.
Local level.
Override and make law. This is what they're there for. They create the law. They can create law that protects you. So you have to go out there. It's not just on the president, because the president can do an executive order that helps, and he can do one that doesn't. Right. So then you have to rely on your congressmen and women to stand up and do the right thing. So you have to let them know your voice. You have to let them know your vote counts. So that's where I see that fight. You know, it's unfortunate. You know, it's still a battle, because we can say Black Lives Matter, but that's Black lives of all, not just not just for protests, but in the law as well.
Right. So another thing that you showed some amazing industrial skills that you needed, that nimbleness as an entrepreneur. So I know you have to find yourself several times in a catch-22 where you want to, make the cause, but you also want to create financial generational wealth for your family. Right. How do you navigate that? Because that's got to be tough for you. Because I could tell I was in that catch-22 maybe about 15 years ago, and then at one point my mentor George Frazier, he said, "Hey man, let me tell you something, DJ." He said, "Hey man, when you're on a plane and they tell you if the plane's going down, what's the first thing they tell you to do? Put on your own mask first, and then put on your daughter, your wife, etc." He said, "So what I'm telling you, bro, go out there and make your money first, get free, and then you better help everybody else with the cause. Don't start." And his thing was, don't start a foundation, because that's what everybody that looks like us, first they want to do, they want to get a foundation, and they broke themselves. So how did you navigate that, and how did you deal with that psychologically when you made that decision?
I think I'm still navigating it. I'm still growing with it. I'm still processing it. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I had a friend of mine, I'm not going to say his name, but he was a fellow law clerk. And what we both realized, some of us who look like us, we don't think about the money. We always want to think about helping, but everybody else thinks about the money first. Then, like you said, then they help. And I said, we need to change our thinking. Money is not a bad thing. Money helps this world, not to sound cliche, but helps the world go around. So if you want to be able to help, you can help more with $1 million than you can help with 1,000. But it's still something I struggle with, because like I said, like my husband, he's like, "Oh, this is what you need to do financially."
Oh yeah, Carlos about, let's get that cash, baby.
And I'm like, why would you be my business person for me? Because an attorney told me that. He said he lets his secretary deal with the money, because he wants to just help people. So he said, what's for him, he do everything for free. But his secretary is like, no. This is the amount. So I said, I need somebody like that who's like, listen, this is the fee. You need to be paid if you want to see Ms. Belizaire. So I figured out I need to do that fight, because at the end of the day, it's a service you're getting, and I work hard. So there's nothing for free. If you need it to be for free, then legal aid is there for that.
Thank you.
And that's that. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to kill you, but you're going to have to pay.
Right.
Period. I don't work for free. Nobody's giving me anything for free. So I can't give you free work.
Right. Don't try to guilt trip me. That don't work anymore, baby.
Exactly.
And Carlos ain't having that on his watch. I know. I love my man Carlos. Big time.
We'll be right back with the DJTMC Financial Expert Series after this message. Stay tuned.
My name is Isaiah, and I'm a cybersecurity engineer. I've actually been working with DJ, the Money Coach, for several months now. I've enrolled in several of his courses, one being the family finance course, another being the complimentary consultation, another one being the 7 Spheres of Money program, and most recently I've also engaged in the Forex webinar. In all of these courses, I would very highly recommend, depending on what it is that you're wanting to get into or that you're looking to get into. One of my biggest takeaways from the Forex course is basically learning how to make your money work for you. Also for me, I think this is probably by far one of the best investments that I've made, all of his courses for that matter. And I highly recommend them to anyone, depending on what it is that you're looking to do and that you're looking to go into. Thanks so much, and God bless.
When did that bug, gather inside of you and Carlos, where y'all like, you know what? We're going up to the top of that mountain, baby. And that mountain is, financial independence, debt freedom, and real entrepreneurship. And then we're going to trickle that down to our kids. When did that itch materialize what y'all got? Was it before you met me, or when did that ignition get lit? Because y'all on fire.
The ignition started before we met you. Like I've always, like I said, I always liked real estate, especially because, like I said, I saw people getting taken advantage of. But that's something I like since high school. But I always thought, oh, you have to have a lot of money to have real estate. It wasn't until as I became, older, and I was like, oh, there are ways to do this and get into it. And then finally, with Carlos, I had a partner who was on the same mindset as me, who said, oh, let's do this.
Oh, hold on one second. Man, you just dropped a major nugget. I don't know if Nick, you caught that. With a partner, it was in the same mindset as I was. And that's a battle in our community with our Black and brown brothers and sisters, is that they watching too much of this idiot box and thinking, oh, I got to be this powerful brother. I got to be this independent sister. And at the end of the day, you need to be interdependent together. Yeah. So go back to the story. This is awesome.
So because he and I had the same mindset of we wanted more for ourselves and our family, it kind of made it easy. So I said, babe, I've always been into real estate. I always wanted to do it, but just never had the opportunity. What do you think? And he was like, well, let's go. And I was like, really? All right. And then we just started applying, and then looking at different avenues. And you know what? He went to this, we did. It was Flipping, New Jersey.
Okay.
Because I told him that I didn't even know he was searching. He found real estate program. He said, okay, Mimi, I found something. And I was like, what? He said, oh, Flipping, New Jersey, it's Atlantic City, we're going. I was like, all right, let's go. And they just connected the dots on because I was always wondering, where are people getting the money? How are they doing? And so I learned about hard money lenders, and I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, well, do you have to pay while you're getting the loan? Do you wait? And they're like, oh, you pay. And I'm like, all right, let's figure out how we can budget and do it. And then we started looking for property. We're like, all right, we're going to New Jersey, we're going to Philly. Like I have those marble notebooks, those old school marble notebooks.
Oh yeah.
I got that filled with real estate addresses.
Okay.
Philly, we went to Chester, we went all over. Then I was talking to a friend of mine in Maryland. She was like, oh, why don't you move down to Maryland? And I'm like, Maryland. I was like, all right. She's been begging me to move down there for 10 years. And I was like, oh, let's see. She's also an attorney as well.
Okay.
Maybe you could work together, figure it out. And then my husband was like, oh, why don't you look into Baltimore? Oh, Baltimore. I was like, all right. So then we started looking. We're like, oh my gosh, these houses where the neighborhoods were like, ugh. But I was like, you know what? We started to look at where is the money going? Where they're making improvement. We looked at it like, oh, these are beautiful. If you just got a block, you could build this and put people in. Like the houses, I love the structure, the brick.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Love it. And of course, every area, every city has their questionable area. But you look and you find and you look and you look. So, so we went looking, we found, a few. But and Baltimore, I said, we loved it. So we keep, I said it's a great area. And as soon as we put our eyes on it, all of a sudden we started hearing it in the news. We started hearing it, and it wasn't no algorithm. This was in the news. This wasn't on the computer. We started hearing
the choice, and that reticular, thing kicked in. That's all you saw everywhere you went.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Even to the degree when you're driving down 95 South, all of a sudden now, while you're in Delaware, you'll see Baltimore. They never had it before. But all of a sudden now, Baltimore is like, hey, I'm here. And a friend of mine was saying they have a lot of programs out there. He was thinking about moving out there. He was like, they have a lot of grants. And so we're like, oh, okay. So, it's a nice place. But that's what kind of gotten us triggered into thinking about how to improve ourselves. I joined another program called Jumpstart West Philly. And what they do with this program, I like it. I haven't found a house yet, still looking. But once you join their program, you're in. You come up with 15% of the cost to fix the house and buy it, and you don't have to pay until you sell. So they give you about a year, I believe, a
Mm.
year to sell or to refinance and
Oh
flip and
man,
hold.
that's a
So
great
it was
program. A lot of times
exactly,
they waive a lot of them fees that normally are charged to the regular, guy and gal.
exactly. And
People
they
just
did it
don't realize you just
specifically.
got to put them lens on and start looking laser focused, and these programs will show up for you.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like you got to put it out there.
Right.
So if you put it out there, certain things will start, coming to you. Because again, a lot of people pray, say, God, help me, but they're not listening to the answers. They just think,
Right.
in my mind, I think they think, oh, God's going to come directly to them.
Right.
God is going to send
He's gonna drop
people
right
to
out the
you.
sky and
Right.
give you something. What they say, faith without works is dead, baby.
Yeah. But I said, you got to listen, you got to do the work. And then you also got to listen to the people that come towards you and say, okay, which one is who I need to listen to, and which, those naysayers may just want to push them to the back, and then listen to people who are, like you said, in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that was one thing with, like I said, with you, where you've done it, you've done the finance, you've done the real estate. So you had a lot of knowledge to offer and to
So when
give.
you were drilling me, you were trying to trip me up and see if I was a phony, huh?
Well, you know what? To be honest, yes. And I'm like, am I giving my money? Am I giving my money to somebody who knows what he's doing, or is he just trying to pocket and put it in his pocket, say, "Yeah, guys, help"? And then
you mean I didn't say, "Hold on, let me call you back and go do some research and get back to you"?
Listen, even if you have, I respect that. If you say, you know what, I don't know the answer, but let me get back to you. As long as you actually got back to me. That got back and I never hear from again. Like, oh, you reached the wrong number. That would have been a problem. Look, Urban X would have gotten a call from me like, you need to call Black Dot and his son figure out who they dealing with.
Oh man, that's awesome. So you guys got engaged into the real estate game. You started liking it. So bring us up to right now and tell us about the education process, because again, this is the financial expert series. And you have become an expert in this segment because you did the work. You started to understand how things get together. So you actually are creating an actual model that you can actually train your daughter, what you're doing, and you're starting to incorporate that with your son. And a lot of times you have to sometimes build your own system. And when you get it together, you're creating a legacy, because now average in your house is going to be supreme entrepreneurship with a solid, educational background and the things that can help them have the best life that they deserve to have.
Right.
That's what I'm really excited about for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, I talk to my daughter all the time, just follow your dreams, know who you are, know what you want, and don't listen to other people. Sometimes people can, and I always tell her, your dreams are for you. They're not for you to share, because people will be negative, try to steer you away from what you want. So I thought, just believe in yourself. And I just say, sometimes it's not going to happen like this. It may take time. Like I said, I've loved real estate since I was 16. And now I'm doing it. So
Right.
It takes time, and you can't give up on your dream. And that's the one thing I didn't do, even though, at some points I was like real close. And then I would have investors just say, no, you know what? I don't see the same dream as you. I was like, oh, okay, fine.
Right. Because you're looking for validation from somebody else because it wasn't inside of your family, because they didn't know.
Right.
And that's all that was. They just didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
They had to go with what they felt comfortable when they came here. That got them in a position to provide what they can provide you with a solid foundation. They didn't know what the next level looked like. And so your need to be validated had to come from somebody else. So speaking about that, Mijrane, tell me about what are some of the challenges that you had just as being a woman, and then on top of that, being a Black woman going through the navigation of being an attorney, being a real estate investor and entrepreneur, that you've overcome, that actually now became actually strengths for you that you are passing down to your daughters and to your sons.
I think the most important thing is confidence. Confidence and just knowledge. And the most important thing is confidence. And then you also have to have an education and knowledge and be able to do the work. Those are the four top things. because you can have confidence and know nothing, but your confidence can get you, but can only get you to a certain point.
Right.
And I think, you know, sometimes as you could get underestimated as a Black woman. They're not expecting you to know what you know or to be as a fighter. They're just like, oh, well, you're a little girl, you're a woman. No, I'm a grown woman, Miss Belizaire, and you need to address me as such.
Right. Esquire Belizaire, matter of fact.
Exactly. And I worked for a Black female judge. And I think working for her and watching her fight and do her thing, and when she's the boss and she says you do A, white, Black, male, female, you better do A. And she lets you know that right away. And at first I didn't get it. I was just like, well, why is she so? But as I learn and grow and see how we are always challenged as to what do you know, I understood why, and I understood the need. And, you know, she prepared me to be able to deal with the naysayers, with the judgments, but I don't let that, I am me. I know what I know, and I fight for what I want. I don't expect to win everything, but you can be who you are. It doesn't faze me. If you want to be nasty, that's your issue. That is not my issue. And that's the way I deal with it. You know, some people will let it get under their skin. I don't know my skin. I'm God's child. I know what my purpose is. And I work on my confidence, and I'm like, I'm ready. And that's it. And that's what I want my kids to know. Like, you are great. You are a spirit. You are here, and you are blessed. Go do what you came here to do. And don't let anybody tell you anything other.
Man.
And I don't care who you are.
I love it. We only have about 5-7 minutes left.
Okay.
So what I want you to share with us, what are you excited about with 2021? What are the advantages for a young Black woman, young Black man to go into law? And then what is the best part about being an entrepreneur and control a whole destiny that you have? Because I always teach people this in our Family Finance 101 course. Once you can become consumer debt free and you can get yourself a 6-figure passive income, you can live like a millionaire, like the people you see on TV. But a lot of people don't believe that. But I think you come to understand that now, embody it. So talk to me about that. Give me about 2 minutes, and then tell me about the exciting things that you're doing right now and what you're excited about for the next 12, 24 months, and how we can get in touch with you as well.
I guess for 2021, I'm just excited about how I'm building my practice, what I want it to be, who I want it to serve, and that I will be successful and that it will serve the purpose that I want it to serve. Like I said, my focus is low to moderate income clients, and I think I'm doing great helping those people, and they appreciate my hard work. And now is always making sure that I'm on point with my finances and demanding what I want, but also still serving the people that I need to serve.
So you're actually practicing because you want to practice, not because you need to practice.
Well, it's my career, so.
But I'm saying not confounded by money like most people are in their profession, because they got to do it because they don't have any other options. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's where a lot of people realize when I'm talking about the pom-pom lifestyle, it's because what I do with these interviews and the education, I do it because I love to do it, but because I built the foundation in businesses and real estate, I don't have to do it if I don't want to do it.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree.
So I'm able to give 100% of me to you, just like you giving 150% to them underserved people in those communities.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I would agree with that.
We'll be right back with the DJTMC Financial Expert Series after this message. Stay tuned.
I created STEAM, STEAM. It's science, technology, engineering, access, and mentorship. And people might say, well, what happened to the math? Well, to me, it's self-explanatory. If you're going to be an engineer, you got to be good at math in some capacity. How does that translate when you go in these boardrooms with these Fortune 500 companies who just want to take money out of our community? How do you get them to, humanize our experiences and actually give us the value without us having to be validated through their lens? People don't understand when you start out in business, you got to pay your team first before you pay yourself. I'm gonna say it again. You got to pay your team first before you pay yourself, because you're invested in a system. I'm excited about meeting you guys because I think you're stumbling on something that's going to actually dissolve that system and actually make you as the #1 player in the industry. Can you talk to that a little bit?
You know what I can say? I can say that I have chills, right now at 4:19 Central Time, Thursday, March 4th, 2021 in Austin, Texas, hearing you say that. And I actually want to refer back to this clip whenever it is that we, do achieve some milestone like $100 million of gross written premium.
The DJTMC Financial Expert Series is the #1 show featuring the hottest business professionals, working professionals, and entrepreneurs, from the seasoned vets to the rising stars. Email Nick at djthemoneycoach.com if you have what it takes to stand among the greats. Now back to the program.
For 2021, the other thing I'm looking forward to, like I said, I homeschool my little guy, and he's growing so much in his learning and understanding.
Man, talk to us about that. That's my thing, homeschooling. What's so important about homeschooling? Talk to his parents out there. What's so important about homeschooling?
Because you let your child be who they want to be. You watch them grow and you watch how they learn, and they're not constrained to learn how this teacher teaches or how this school wants them to learn and what they want them to learn. My biggest thing, with my daughter, I always wanted to homeschool her, but I was nervous about it. So I let her go to school, and then I also did extra work with her at home. And then when I got to the age, when she got about middle school, I said, I want to homeschool you. She's like, no, Mom, it's too late.
She want to get her socialization on now.
Right, exactly. So I was like, So with my little guy, I said, yeah. And he's funny because he's like, I don't want to go to school. I'll do mommy school. And he enjoys it. We can create what we want to create. He's into the planets. He was looking at the moon. He's like, Mommy, there are other planets. And we were talking about how many planets do we have? And, we're going to start learning the names of the planets. Is he into the stars? He's into the sun. He's like, oh, it's daytime, it's sun. And nighttime, the moon comes down and we have the stars. And he talks about it. And what I love about it, I told him one time, we did one book on the planets, astrology book. It had a little black boy on it. That's why I bought it, because I wanted to see.
Right.
Black skin in the book.
Not in our public school systems.
Right.
Definitely ain't in the private schools unless they owned and built by Black people. Let's keep it 100.
Listen, and I'm one of those. Every year, I know the teachers probably like, oh, here go Nominee's mother. What Black authors are we doing, please? What authors are diverse? Why aren't we seeing more? And the English teacher said, we're doing these, but if you want to see more, here's the curriculum director. I said, thank you. I'll be contacting him. Send an email, and I did that when she was in private school and public school. No, we're going to teach. And in her private school, we had, not digress from what I was saying before, but we had, there was a teacher who thought she could treat our kids the way she felt like it, a racist teacher. And the parents, luckily, this was when my child was in 2nd grade. This was the 3rd grade teacher. And all the parents, we were like a tight knit, and we were like, oh, no. This is not. What I love is the white parents were like, oh no, we don't want our children learning that either. It's not just you guys, but it's us as well. And we got together and sitting at that table, at least it was at least $4 million was sitting at that table.
Wow.
Saying, we go or get rid of this teacher.
Right.
And I remember somebody had said, are you sure this was racist? I said, when they're picking on just the Black boys, yes, exactly. That is. Let's be clear.
Exactly.
And they, I think it woke them up of how to pay attention. That teacher, they were like, oh, can we offer diverse training? I said, Personally, for me, I didn't want diverse training.
Right.
Some parents were on board with it. I said, no, because you can't change that. You can't change that. You change it by bye-bye, learn how to be different. And she ended up not taking it. She ended up leaving. And I try to tell parents, that's your power. Exactly. Whether it's public school, because it's your taxes, whether it's private school, it's your money. Get together. And that goes for anywhere. Like people don't understand the power of union. That's how labor unions were so powerful at one point.
Exactly.
Come together, and guess what? They can't get rid of 100 nurses. They can't get rid of 100 parents. They don't want to lose that.
Right.
But
they get them tax dollars.
Exactly.
Tax dollars. That kind of remind me real quickly. I remember I moved in the community I've been living in for like 14 years, and very affluent, community. But one side was, by like 20-30% more, Caucasian. And what they decided, because it's a pretty new, planned developed community, that they were going to vote us out of the schools that we were paying tax dollars on. And the best schools were literally like 1.7 miles from my door.
Oh, wow.
So at the time, mom is like, hey, the school, if we don't show up on the first day of school, the government is going to pull back them tax dollars and ain't nothing they can do. So I go in and talk to these people and say, hey, I'm a business owner.
Right.
You need to fight this by not going to school that first week. And all this noise they talking about, it'll stop.
Right.
But you know what? Most of the people, they had fear in their eyes. They're worried about their jobs. And I said, I ain't worrying about that. Like you said, the power.
Right.
The coalition. Now, matter of fact, I wasn't, thinking about putting my kid in the school anyway, because we were already homeschooling. But I'm like, this is my community and my tax dollars. And that was during the time where, they were thinking about giving these vouchers and stuff. So I wanted to take them vouchers and pour into my home school and into the private school that we were going to put our kids into. But again, you got to know your power, like you said.
Right.
So with that said, we got about 2 minutes left. So tell us about how important, financial independence is to you. Tell us about your projects that you are undertaking as an investor, and give us your contact information for this time. And we definitely got to bring you back, because you got a wealth of knowledge, and we want to expand on the homeschool. I think we should just have a conversation just about homeschooling, because you actually talked to me about, hey, can you give me some ideas of what I should do in homeschooling? And I don't talk to people about that, but that's a part of being free.
Right. Having that ability to do that, with your kid. And it's so powerful to watch them grow and feel confident in themselves.
Right.
And, when you hear stories about Black boys being picked or being suspended, listen, I'm not the mother you want to mess with. So I said, you know what? Let me just teach my child and teach them what I want them to know about themselves and how to love themselves. And when they're confident in themselves, then they're ready for the world.
They're bored with that simple stuff.
Right.
So God, there's a word called enthusiasm, which means God within internally. Whatever you get excited about that comes from God, he's going to make up the rest. And then you're going to be self-motivated to go get that knowledge. And that's what homeschooling really does for all children. Like you said, find their light and then just give them the resource.
Go with it. Right. There you go.
Yeah. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So with that said, tell us about your real estate you're excited about. Give us your contact information, and then we're gonna turn it over to Nick, and we're gonna get a part 2 to this party.
No problem. This year, like I said, I'm growing my practice. I'm working on my website, and I'm just growing on getting out there more and passing knowledge. The biggest thing I see that's sometimes hurting our community is in the area of estate planning and probate, how to leave your assets to your family without hindering them financially. And I had 2 cases this year where a family member was left with a beautiful home, but there were liens against it. And then there was no way he could keep the home. He had to end up selling it to pay off the liens, and the taxes, and the taxes. And so that's the one area I really want to focus in as far as going into my churches, the community churches, and explain to them the importance of having finances.
Let me ask you this, because when you say estate, most people think, oh, millions of dollars.
Oh, no.
Would you debunk estate? When should we start doing estate, at what income bracket?
I think honestly, any income bracket. you should have some kind of trust or some way to leave the property, your primary home, your primary residence. So for example, I have a client who's on SSI. Her mother passed away, left her home. In this state, in the Commonwealth of PA, you have to pay an inheritance tax of 4.5% if you are older than 22. So had she passed away when her daughter was young, it would have passed to her with no tax. However, she passed away when her child was, I think, in her 40s. She also left gas liens, unpaid water, unpaid gas liens on the property. So that attaches. So you have a situation where had the mother had enough education and knowledge to know, hey, let me get a life insurance policy, you know, worth maybe, you know, at the time the property may have been worth
$250,000.
Not even that much, 50,000.
Right, but just to leave the daughter a little bit, even a little bit more though. Right,
if she had a $250,000 life insurance policy, she would have been able to pay the taxes, pay off the liens, and she'd have the house debt-free, lien-free, and be able to either sell it if she wanted to with no hesitation and move, or fix it, because also the house had structural issues. So again, she's on SSI, she's on limited income, she's $800. What bank is she gonna get a loan from? She can't get a loan.
Right, but they ready to take it though.
And
that's how they continue to perpetuate their wealth. So real quick, because man, since you touched on this, but I want you to explain to people, Mijrane, the difference between a will and a trust and why they're so important to be interdependent. Can you just give us the third grade definition of, because in our families, 90% of people I come across, they don't have a will, and the ones that hear estate, they automatically think, oh, I gotta have $1 million plus, but you can have as little as $40,000 home, and you need a will and a trust.
Exactly. So I'll try to be as quickly as possible. A will is a document that says how you want to leave your property and who do you want to leave it to.
So your wishes, legal
wishes, your wishes, your desires. Hey, I want to leave my property to cousin so-and-so.
Okay.
If you have underage kids, I want so-and-so to be the guardian of my underage children. I want so-and-so to handle the finances for my underage children.
Got it.
I like a semi-trust there.
Okay, and that avoids probate automatically, correct?
That does not. The will
does not
avoid probate.
I'm just asking.
You have to go to probate, and there are fees, because then you got to open up the estate. Now, if you do a trust, before you die, and do something called a revocable trust. It's where you also dictate how you want your property to be handled. So when I pass, I want my property to go to spouse, and after spouse to children, after children to grandchildren.
The estate, keep it moving.
The estate keeps going.
And pay taxes at the last death of the estate.
Right, and it's the home. It could be your only home, one home. It doesn't have to be 10 homes. It doesn't have to be your hotel and your restaurant, your store. Your primary house, your one house worth $30,000.
Yep.
That's it. And you do it while you are living. And when you do it while you're living, you avoid inheritance tax.
Thank you.
Under a certain amount of value, you avoid gift tax as well.
Exactly.
And what's nice about the trust is that if somebody let's say you have a child who's special needs, they will continue to benefit from that house or the assets you have in trust and still get medical coverage and the things they need to get from the government in order to continue to survive. So that's the nice thing, where you put what's called special needs trust and clause inside your trust.
Yes.
The trust, and then you are able to delegate who's the trustee. The trustee is the person who's going to make sure your wishes are followed, your desires are followed in the trust. So it must be somebody that you trust, and that's why they call it a trust.
Yep.
You have to designate somebody you trust with your life to do what you want them to do. Obviously, if they violate it, the beneficiaries can take them to court. And fight and say, hey, this person is not doing the will of the trust of the will of the trust, pretty much, of the grantor,
the beneficiary. And then what I always recommend as an executive of the trust is that I have two. I have a person and I have a corporation, because what a lot of people realize, if I move out of that state, the laws change state by state.
Oh, excuse me.
And then if you have a corporation overseeing that, they can have that representation for you in all 48 contiguous states, as well as Alaska and Hawaii. So, man, that's that expertise nugget that you bring in, that hammer to that nail that they all need to know. So with that said, I'm excited about that. So give us your contact information, where we can contact you, so that these people can get that information. Because unfortunately, we didn't talk a lot about that, but that's so important that a lot of times people miss that because they, I only got $30,000 total. No, that's important.
Whatever you have, there's a way to protect it so that the people who want to benefit, that you want to benefit from it, can. So I can be reached. I'll give you my email, which is M as in Mary, .Belizaire, B as in boy, E as in elephant, L as in Larry, I as in ice cream, Z as in zebra, A as in apple, I as in ice cream, R as in robot, E as in elephant, at bellylaw.com. That's BELILAW.com. And I can be reached at my office, 267-235-4311, between the hours of 9:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday.
Man, that's awesome. Nick's gonna put that at the bottom in the links. And what we always in our show is Nick gives us his insight on what he gleaned from these amazing financial expert series with our expert. And especially, you're the first person to come on, Mijrane, and talk about law and actually the importance in our community for wills and trusts. Man, I really thank you so much. And we're gonna do a part 2 on this and talk specifically about that in homeschooling. So Nick, what you got for us, brother?
Yeah, that's going to be a 3-part series. So part 2 will be homeschooling, and that'll actually be an extension of this, and also an extension of episode of Nick's Knowledge and Notions that we did back in August or September, right when school was getting ready to start, because I wanted to deal with this topic of, with the pandemic going on and this idea of virtual learning. The question was, are you homeschooling or are you schooling from home? Because there is a difference. So we'll definitely return.
We need to do that in the next week or so, Nick. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and then for part 3, we focus strictly on wills, and maybe I bring my sister on to introduce her to you, and y'all ladies can have that conversation, young sister, to talk about wills. Okay. So that'll be a powerful conversation there. So what I took away from this overall, well, one of the things I took away from this overall conversation is this idea that it's not a myth that you can have that you can't have it all, as a woman, and especially a Black woman, because I read the story of I think it was Sheryl Sandberg, I think her name was, and she was talking about this idea of leaning in, and a lot of people really didn't resonate with that, because it was like, well, she has all this privilege.
Yeah, she's the CEO of Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, well, she has all this privilege, but you are an exemplar that you can have it all, if you put the right pieces into place, as far as, connecting with the right partner, being equally yoked, having the similar mindsets, having you have your career, and you're also making your money at the same time, and you're a mother, so you're truly exemplar of what it looks like to have it all. So that's what I took away from all of that, from your backstory, to your marriage and your partnership and your children, your career and your entrepreneurship. That's why I took from all of that, and now that's why our viewers, especially the women out there, to take notice of.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. You know what? And this is the second Renaissance woman that we've had on our program. So now all of them that we're going to bring are Renaissance people. And we got that from, I call myself a Renaissance man, but Renee Bishop, who we just interviewed recently, just a couple of days ago, she said, hey, I consider myself to be a Renaissance woman because men are already talking about how they're Renaissance men and they're well-versed in all different disciplines. And guess what? Women can be that too. And I agree with her. So our second Renaissance woman has just, blessed us with her presence. So on behalf of our amazing moderator, Nick Westbrooks, and we want to thank our esteemed guest, Mijrane Belizaire, the Esquire extraordinaire, who specializes in wills and trusts, family practice, and immigration law, and is an amazing entrepreneur, an incredible mom, and most importantly, an amazing wife that's equally yoked with her husband. I'm so proud to be blessed with your presence. And by the way, she's also a member of the program that I had to earn that membership, and hopefully we continue to do a great job. So I'm DJ the Money Coach, and we end this the same way every time. We wish everybody a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money, peace of mind, and we want you to come join us on the beaches of the World Club. Your beach don't have to be an ocean. It's just wherever you find your freedom and wherever you find your peace. I'm DJ. We'll see you next time on the Financial Expert Series with DJ the Money Coach.
Thanks for having me, DJ. Thanks, Nick.
Hi, I'm DJ the Money Coach. Don't touch that dial. You want to become financially independent? You want to have consumer debt freedom? You want to have passive income, learn how to build a business, acquire real estate, and achieve the lifestyle you deserve in 2021? Well, hit that link below right now. We've worked with over 20,000 people in the past 2 decades, helping them become consumer debt free, increase their credit scores by 30 to 60 points in 30 days or less, and help them acquire businesses through real estate, taxes, and a network of experts just like me. So you'll get a complete 3-hour, 18-module course called Family Finance 101 that'll teach you A to Z how to become consumer debt free, credit worthy, and it put you in position to become a certified entrepreneur. We'll also give you a complimentary consultation with me that's a $500 value. Why would you want to do that? Because I have already achieved that, and I can help you achieve your American dream in 2021. Hit the link below, get the free webinar and the complimentary consultation, and I'll see you soon and wish you a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money and peace of mind. Come join us.